been a licensed attorney practicing divorce and other areas of law for the last 20 years. Standard disclaimer is that none of this is supposed to be construed as legal advice. For your own particular situation, please consult a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. Big mistake number 1, not even getting a legal consultation. Around where I practice, I've seen some attorneys offer legal consultations for as little as $99. Most others charge at least $250 to $350 for an initial consultation, and that's money that's going to be very well spent. Everybody's heard the old adage that anyone who represents himself or herself has a fool for a lawyer. So don't be that person. You owe it to yourself to at least have a one-time consultation with a licensed attorney in your state who can help. But number 2, definitely related to number 1, failure to hire an attorney. Why would you not hire an attorney to assist you through this process when they handle hundreds and hundreds of divorce cases day in, day out for X number of years? Don't go in this blind. I've seen so many people just mess up their cases and blunder their ways on through, cause even more of a big mess later on because they tried to be cheap, tried to do their own separation agreement, or did not even have a separation agreement properly drafted. I've seen some people just fill out an intake form at a law firm and then try to get their spouse to sign it, and that doesn't qualify as a valid separation agreement, at least not in North Carolina. Another example that I often see is sometimes people will try to do their own cheapo separation agreement piece together on stuff that they found on the internet. Maybe they're using their friend's old separation agreement as a template, sometimes even from another state, or they try to do something such as LegalZoom, one of those cheapo do-it-yourself separation agreements, but then it turns out that the language they put in their own agreement is so poorly worded, ambiguous, or unenforceable. So later on, they need to hire an attorney to just basically undo the mess that they themselves created, something that wouldn't have cost as much to do from the first get-go if only they had hired an attorney. This is a really traumatic, tough period of time for a lot of people, and you just really need to have someone on your side who can be an advocate, keep you even-keeled, and give you good information so you can make good, proper choices during these difficult times. Is this how you keep your documents organized? Well, you need to do a much better job organizing all of your financial records, preferably as PDFs on the computer, so that you can prepare yourself as well as your attorney for your case. Okay, so this is one of the things that I really dread as a divorce attorney. This is where people have long separated, but they continue intermingling all their finances. They still have joint accounts together, joint debts, joint credit cards. The finances keep changing. This is why when you separate, you really should go ahead, if you haven't already, and open up your own separate checking account. Have your paycheck put into your own separate checking account. Stop sharing bills. Stop charging up more stuff to a joint credit card or credit cards. It can be a financial mess, an accounting nightmare for attorneys to go back in time and parse out what part of this credit card debt is marital versus stuff that was incurred after the date of separation. You know, sometimes when people split up, they're not sure if they really want to get a divorce. So they're kind of in this intermediate no man's land where they're not getting divorced, but they're also not living together. And so I can understand why some people continue still sharing their money, you know, still having all these joint accounts and credit cards together. But it becomes an absolute nightmare the longer that goes on, because when you go to court, at least here in North Carolina, you're going to have to provide all of your financial statements typically 6 months before the date of separation through the present. So all of that information needs to be provided. If you've been separated and still joining together all your finances for like the last 3-4 years, I've seen some cases like that, then just realize there's going to be a lot more work for you and your attorney to do to parse things out and see what the value of your assets and debts are now and what part should be split up by the court and which should be assessed against one of the spouses. All right, number 5, getting too emotional and not listening to your attorney. Now that's every attorney's nightmare. We're not licensed therapists. I think I took one psychology course, Intro to Psychology, many years ago. And I'm not fully equipped to be someone's therapist. Plus, therapists charge less per hour. So it's definitely not easy to just tell people, hey, you need to calm down and get real and stop freaking out. It's entirely understandable when you're going through a divorce to be really stressed out, maybe be depressed and in need of some mental health services. So there's nothing wrong with that. You're in good company. Please let your attorney refer someone to you or find your own provider so that this process can be a little less unbearable for you. As for listening to your attorney, sometimes I have to give people some news that they're not happy with, and I just give them my honest opinion. I'm not just going to inflate your chances of winning or give you pats on the back, be your cheerleader. That's not what I'm here for. I'm supposed to give you good legal advice based on my experience and training. So sometimes when clients just don't like my advice, they don't listen to what I say, or sometimes there could be like big lags of time when I don't hear from somebody and I suspect they're shopping around and trying to talk to other attorneys because they don't like what I told them or my assessment of the case. Well, sure, that's fine. You know, everybody's a free agent. You can go out there, go do another consultation with some other attorney and get their opinions. Sometimes I even encourage some people to do that so that they can feel more assured about what I'm telling them is the case. By all means, get a second or third or fourth opinion, but just realize that, you know, if you're hearing the same thing from various attorneys that are experienced and in the field, perhaps the way you want things to turn out is not going to be the reality. And it also does make people look a little nutty, I think, if they continue to switch attorneys over and over and over again. That does give people a red flag that you're probably a problem client or have some issues going on. I remember ages ago, I had a client who was very mad after the person's hearing, very upset, did some crazy things. I was probably that person's third attorney. Well, over the years, every so often I would check the docket for what's going on in the different courtrooms and see this person's name still showing up with different attorneys each time. Last time I went to court, maybe last year, I saw the person involved in another divorce case because the person had remarried and was having the same problems, probably been through about half the attorneys in the county. But you know, remember that the attorney is not a licensed trained therapist. There are professionals for counseling and getting you through hard times. Maybe you need some medication prescribed. Again, nothing wrong with that. Seems like everybody is on some sort of medication these days anyway. But just try to be as unemotional as you can potentially. It usually just ends up wasting the attorney's time and running up your legal bill. And in the future, I hope to have a separate episode about how to save on your legal bills. Make sure you're not running up that tab unnecessarily. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. I hope to make some more informative videos that people will enjoy. Don't know if I should really inject too much humor in this since the issues I'm talking about or the areas of law that I practice don't really lend themselves to that much humor. Maybe amongst ourselves, between attorneys, we can joke around a little bit, but we do have to maintain client confidentiality and, of course, put on a professional demeanor. So I will not be jumping around unnecessarily and acting too foolish. But thanks for subscribing. Thank you, Hector, for being one of my new subscribers, and hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.